Ulcerative colitis is not just a digestive issue. My story is a very personal story. This message is for everyone who suffers with UC and for caretakers who walk beside them. Hi, everyone. My name is Elena. Today, I want to share something very personal and important: ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis is not just a digestive issue, it's a chronic inflammatory disease of the colon and rectum that affects the body, mind, and the heart. It touches not only the person living with it, but also their families, relationships, and everyday life. My story is a very personal story. It's so close to my heart. My oldest son, Alexander, was diagnosed with pancolitis, which is the most severe form of ulcerative colitis 4 years ago. Since then, I've walked with him through challenges I wouldn't wish on anyone. And I've developed such deep compassion for everyone who suffers with this debilitating condition. And we have tried everything from testing microbiome, testing to see if there is any bad pathogens, parasites, fungus, candida, mold, toxins, diet, spiritual insights, belief systems, you name it, we've tested all. There have been many lessons, but also moments of surrender, especially during flare-ups. During these times, Alexander lost over 50 pounds. He was bleeding out 20 to 30 times a day and completely, I'm saying completely, unable to function. Flare-ups are no joke. They're debilitating and they require immediate medical care. So if you're someone you love with UC or ulcerative colitis is experiencing severe bleeding, dehydration, or uncontrolled diarrhea, please don't wait. Go straight to the emergency room. It will truly save your life. In his most recent flare, Alexander needed 2 blood transfusions, 2 emergency doses of Remicade, high dose of IV steroids, morphine, nausea medicine, and more things just to stabilize. I'm so grateful for the medical system that could save lives in these moments. And he said to me, Mom, if this had happened 100 years ago, I wouldn't be here today. We also learned a very tough lesson about biologics. So biologics is a class of medications, they're immunosuppressants. Over a year ago, Alexander stopped them. And unfortunately, he developed antibodies against these medications. This triggered a flare that lasted more than 6 months, and he's still healing from it. The risk of stopping effective treatment is not just longer suffering. Sometimes it means losing colon and rectum completely through emergency surgery. And this is a reality many patients face. Every case is unique and different. What works for one person may not work for another. This is why it's so important to have excellent medical care and also individualized holistic support. Through all of this, Alexander has shared incredible wisdom. He told me, I'm becoming the man I want to be, seeing what truly matters in life, family and love. He also said too many of us take life too seriously. These words, born from struggle, carry so much truth. This message is for everyone who suffers with UC and for caretakers who walk beside them. You're seen, you're loved, and I embrace you. Now let's dive into what is ulcerative colitis. So it's one of the 2 main forms of inflammatory bowel disease. One is Crohn's, and in UC, the immune system mistakenly attacks the lining of the colon, causing inflammation and open sores. The exact cause is not fully understood, but genetics, immune system, diet, gut microbiome, and environment all play a role. Worldwide, more than 5 million people live with UC. In the US alone, around 600 to 900,000 people are currently living with it, with about 38,000 new diagnoses each year. Globally, rates vary from about 1 to 20 new cases per 100,000 people annually. Industrialized countries still see the highest rates, but it's rising everywhere. Diet, microbiome shifts, and lifestyle stressors are part of the picture. Now we're going to talk about the different stages of ulcerative colitis. So UC looks different for everyone, depending on how much of the colon is being affected. There's ulcerative proctitis, and this is when only the rectum is inflamed, symptoms of rectal bleeding, urgency, sometimes mild diarrhea or constipation. And then there is something that's called proctosigmoiditis. It involves the rectum and sigmoid colon, and symptoms include bloody diarrhea, abdominal cramps, and urgency. Then there is left-sided colitis affecting rectum, sigmoid, and descending colon. This causes bloody diarrhea, weight loss, fatigue, pain on the left side. And then there's pancolitis. This is the one that my son has, which involves the entire colon. This is the most severe, and I will say the most debilitating, with symptoms like diarrhea, significant weight loss, anemia, a lot of blood loss, fatigue, and widespread abdominal pain. We're talking about pain level during flare-up, 10 out of 10. So now we're going to talk about flare-ups. UC is known for cycles of flare-ups and remissions. During a flare, people may experience frequent bowel movements, sometimes 10 or more per day, blood or mucus in the stool, cramping, fatigue, fever, urgency, and sometimes even incontinence. Flares can last from days, which I think in most cases it's months, weeks, months, and I know cases that are like years. Can you imagine living with it for years? They often come unpredictably. Now we're going to talk about triggers for flare-ups. So flare-ups can be triggered by diet, greasy food, spicy food, alcohol, caffeine, and too much fiber. Stress can make things worse. And one thing I want to say that sometimes diet can vary across the board depending on a unique individual. I know people who eat greasy foods and they're fine, and then there are those that can't have it. Certain medications like antibiotics, ibuprofen, even allergy medicine can aggravate the colon. And I can tell you that in my son's case, he's severely allergic to pollen. So during pollen season, he took, I think for a week, antihistamine. And I believe this is what started the flare-up. Infections can also trigger the flare-up, and skipping prescribed treatment can raise the risk. And this is what happened in his case. He stopped it for a year. Now, managing UC flare-ups. If symptoms are severe, high fever, uncontrollable diarrhea, heavy bleeding, or dizziness will occur, do not wait. Immediately go to emergency room or have someone take you there. I know that for those of you that have severe cases, you can't even drive. Doctors often prescribe anti-inflammatory drugs, immune suppressants, or biologics. Monitoring with colonoscopies help manage long-term risks. Severe flares may require hospitalization for IV steroids, fluids, transfusions, sometimes surgery, pain management. During flares, diets should focus on low-fiber, easy-to-digest foods like white rice, bananas, applesauce, peeled potatoes, cooked carrots, lean protein. You absolutely want to avoid raw veggies, all the nuts, all the seeds, caffeine, alcohol, spicy foods. I know that through this whole process for my son, I've been cooking for him every day, right? So it's bone broth, lean chicken, mashed potatoes. I'm trying to think what else he eats. Yeah, just very bland foods. There's no spices whatsoever. Supportive practices like meditation, gentle yoga, breath work, food diary, acupuncture, energy work can help, especially outside a flare state. I know that when a person is experiencing a flare-up, there's going to be no yoga. I know that. There's no way you can do it. So just be aware that if you are spiraling out of control, like you can't function on a daily basis, make sure someone is there for you and that you go to emergency room. It's very serious. Some of the nutrients that you can take that are supportive, I think vitamin D is key. It is regulating immune system. It's a hormone. It's an immunomodulator. It protects from colon cancer risk. It actually protects from all kinds of viruses and cancer. So Just make sure that you test your vitamin D levels at least every 6 months to know where you are. You want to be at an optimal level of 65 on the blood test. Selenium is key antioxidant. It helps reduce oxidative stress in colon. And I have seen some studies that actually look and say that it decreases the colon cancer risk from 15 to 30%. So I would say that's an important one. Zinc helps support tissue repair, immune system, and gut barrier integrity. Again, testing and personalization are key here since everybody is different. What are some of the risks if you leave ulcerative colitis untreated? Okay, or you stop therapy? That can be life-threatening. And I know this because we just went through it. My son stopped it for a whole year because we wanted to try the holistic approach. My gosh, put his life at risk. He actually developed antibodies and his body was rejecting any medication that wasn't working during the 6-month flare-up. It can lead to colorectomy, surgical removal of rectum and colon. Colon perforation means the colon can tear where the wall tears, right? Toxic megalocolon, where the colon dilates and stops functioning. That's very dangerous. And actually, pain medications can cause that. So you have to be careful. And a higher risk of colorectal cancer. For those that are at a severe stage, that is one of the risk factors. So flare-ups should never, ever be ignored. Emergency medical care can save both the colon and the patient's life. Now let's talk about the human side of ulcerative colitis. It is life-altering. Flare-ups can make it impossible to work, attend school, or even manage daily tasks. I'm talking about its full disability, fatigue, pain, urgency, unpredictable weight loss. And this is why support system is so essential. Family and friends can make a huge difference through being flexible, preparing safe foods, even going to the grocery store and making something, simply showing up. No one, and I say no one, should face ulcerative colitis alone. Let's dive into the deeper perspective. For those of you that are open, ulcerative colitis can also be seen through astrology and ancestral karma. It's so interesting because while he's been in the hospital, a friend of mine reached out who's an amazing astrologer, Lada, and she looked at his chart and she's like, oh, wow, there's like ancestral karma here. So in his chart, this condition was absolutely reflected, pointing to lessons his soul came here to learn. And we realized that some of what he's carrying is ancestral karma passed down through lineage that does not truly belong to him. So he actually came here to work through ancestral lineage. We also saw how location matters. So you can do astrocartography or relocation astrology, and some locations can actually amplify your symptoms and make it worse or soften those influences. So I think that's also important to look at. Some regions can make it worse or bring relief. Illness is not just physical. It can also be part of a bigger picture, ancestral and cosmic story. Now, living with UC diagnosis can be absolutely overwhelming, but many people do live full, meaningful lives with this condition. The keys are listening to the body, resting during flares, building strong care team, and combining medical treatment with holistic support that works for you. I know that I've had many people, and thank you again for caring, that I was doing some posts on social media, reaching out and saying to me, Elena, have you tried, parasite cleanse? I'm like, okay, first of all, my son is absolutely in best hands, right? We can test. I don't believe in just giving things without testing. It's very important, first of all, to know what is out of balance in the body. How do you eliminate it? But remember, during a flare-up, that is part 2. Part 1 is getting a person hydrated and making sure that they can survive what is happening, because it doesn't matter what holistic approach you have or however many energy sessions you are sending. If the person is in this absolute emergency state, we need emergency medicine. Okay. So now I want to talk about some of the emerging treatments that many people talk about, and I think it's important to bring it up. One is the fecal microbiota transplant, or FMT. It's where they take the donor stool and then transplant it into a patient's colon to restore gut microbiome balance. Here is my 2 cents on it. When somebody is in a flare-up, you can forget this, right? This is like the last thing to do. So somebody has to be out of flare-up. The issue with this treatment, if somebody has, well, let's talk about if somebody has mild to moderate case, I would say mild, and you're not on any biologic treatments, perhaps this is a path for you. You should consider it. Ask the medical provider if they have data. The second thing is if you have severe case of ulcerative colitis, okay, I think it is not safe at all. It's actually very risky because the thing that you have to do is you need to get off of biologic. If you get off biologic, that means you're willing to lose your colon, okay, and your rectum. And we know a couple of people very close to our family that this has happened to. So keep this in mind, okay? Probiotics, let's talk about probiotics. Not all probiotics are created equal. So there's very few probiotics that actually implant in your microbiome, in your gut, and help repopulate it. So when to take it? It's recommended that you take it, first you need to know which one, during remission, okay? Not during severe flare-up. I was giving probiotics for a couple of weeks to my son during a flare-up, made his flare-up total disaster, okay? Same thing, but he actually, when we got discharged from the hospital, he started eating, he was craving sauerkraut, okay? It's a huge no. When you are in your flare-up, do not eat sauerkraut. It will make you bleed. So again, it's very important when all these things are, when to bring all these treatments in, basically. My final thoughts. Ulcerative colitis is complex and often debilitating, but knowledge is power. Understanding the stages, the triggers, and supportive strategies can help make the journey more manageable. Every person's journey is unique. This is very important to remember. With right balance of medical treatment, nutrition, emotional support, spiritual insights, and lifestyle care, remission and vibrant life are possible. And to everyone living with UC and every caretaker walking beside them, you are truly my superheroes. Your courage, your resilience, and your perseverance are extraordinary. You are seen, you're loved, and you're not alone. I know. I'm on the caretaker side. It's a lot. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all of your light. And for more holistic insights, subscribe and stay connected. And if you want to reach out, my website is www.holisticwiththew.com. Thank you so much.